Good morning, and glad to have you on the program Perspective this morning. Perspectives. We'll be looking at the state of the nation. Of course, also look at some of the issues that are of importance as we go ahead with the country. Of recent, there have been sound drums of war. Some people would have it, and of course, call for restructuring has come out more than any other time in the fall. And we also know that the regions are not the best of what is happening today. From every side, we hear, of dissatisfaction, disaffection, and suspicion in matters of governance. And so, we're going to be looking at it this morning, why we have come this far, and of course, what needs to be urgently done to put the country forward. Of course, we talked about having all decks, all hands on deck, and so we can find a way forward for Nigeria. For those that are sounding the drums of war, well, some people would say that it's unfortunate that this is happening at this time in the life of this country. No country has gone through a war and has come out unscathed. And so, why must it be different with Nigeria? And we can also all take a cue from Rwanda when the genocide, came about. We saw millions of people that died. And of course, that is not what we want for Nigeria. What we know by our old national anthem is that though tribe and tongue may differ, but in brotherhood we stand. And so we can, together as a people, bring the best out of Nigeria. Our diversity, some would say, is our strength. Why don't we explore all of that? I'll be doing a long distance call this morning where I'll be bringing in Honorable Ishiaka Babatunde Adigun Badamausi, IBA. He's a PR and NSMES consultant, the Vice President, Jos Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, JOSIMA, also a retired federal civil servant, and a politician. My guest this morning by phone, Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Adigun Badamosi. Good morning and glad to have you on our show. Hello.
Very much for having me. Thank you.
Hello, Honorable.
Hello, I'm with you. Good morning. Thank you for
All
having
right.
me.
Good morning. We hope that you can hear us loud and clear.
Yes, I'm hearing you very clearly. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Okay. Yes, I just gave an intro there to what we'll be having on the program this morning. I'm talking to you from the southwest of Nigeria, and some people would say is the epicenter of all the disturbing voices that are coming in now. And of course, we are, as a people, we started labeling ourselves and profiling ourselves the wrong way. And so, for you, just a brief there, a background up there, what you feel about the way we're moving on with Nigeria, your thoughts here.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Really appreciate you having me on the program today. What is happening in the country, it's not something that is very strange. It's something that is long coming, and us have been saying it over time, and we've been calling the attention of government at all levels to brace up to the challenges ahead. I remember the last time had a we had a conversation. There was just the issue of NSAS, and I remember I mentioned a lot of things that were wrong with the system and which we have to fix in the media. Unfortunately, we really did not do anything until things went out of hand and we had the NSAS crisis, which actually crippled the country and gave us a lot of scars in the country. Now we are having the challenges of other farmers' issues. These are issues that have been on for a long time. But for whatever reason, the government of the day, at all levels, should share the blame of this because they have deliberately looked away, they have deliberately refused to address the problem, and for these reasons, this problem has festered, and now people are resorting to self-defense, and we are going back to the state of nature, which is most unfortunate.
Well, we do know that, again, people talk about suspicion and in matters of governance, and that, again, has fueled the crisis that we have in internal strife. But let's talk about agitations. Yes, agitations have been there since the formative days of the country, but it's sounding more than any other time now. And people went on self-determination, defense, and this boils down on restructuring. Why is not restructuring taking so much space of our national life now?
Well, the first thing is that a leadership in any country, the leadership is most essential. And the leadership must identify. One of the reasons why you have leadership is to identify what are the problems of a nation and to take it on and to solve it head on without any form of bias. I know there is politics and there are interests here and there, but we must put in the picture, the bigger picture, that is the country itself. Do we really want to have a country called Nigeria, or we want to serve our self-interest? If we want to have Nigeria, then we must solve the problem of Nigeria with open mind, with clear heart, and a focus that we want to do a nation. I said it before on this platform last year that Nigeria was set up for failure ab initio, and that's exactly what is playing out today. Because those who set up this country, what they had in mind was for their economic gains. They did not have a success. We, the people of Nigeria, are the ones to make sure we want to build this country, and this falls squarely on the path of leadership. The very time or the very point when the people start feeling a sense of distrust, or they don't no longer believe in the capability of the leadership to solve their problem, or they see a leadership that is biased, or they see a leadership that just look away from the problem and pretend it does not exist. Then that same instance, the people will start to take that into their hands. And that's why you continue to see the agitation for different regions, the issue of restructuring and all of that. If we have a leadership that is proactive and solve the problem before it even takes time, we will not have any of this crisis. But that is not what we have. Our leadership has been lopsided, our leadership has not been focused, and our leadership has refused as pay attention to a particular interest only, which is most unfortunate. There is no way you can build a nation that way. I keep saying that, take for example, Europe as a continent. In Europe, there are countries that are not up to the size of Oyo State. That's the country. In its entirety, the entire size is not up to Oyo State in population and in large mass in Europe. And they are a nation that are surviving and are doing well. What is the problem with us? The problem with us is the leadership has refused to take the problem head on because of some very parochial and very narrow interests.
Let me also look at the leadership that you've hammered on. From the man in Sokoto to the man in Calabar to the man in Oyo, and of course all the divides of the country, there's one thing that is staring us all in the face, that we are of one people, one humanity, and of course our concerns are all the same, that we want to live well, we want to eat well, feed well, and of course have the things of life. Now that's all that we know. But again, for all that is coming out of Nigeria today, cost of living on the high, people are very angry because things are just getting out of hand for them, especially meeting their needs. And of course, it is again leadership that speaks to the people. So, that leadership has not taken its rightful position. What needs to be done for the people? I'm talking about the ordinary people who wants to live life peacefully, enjoy the things of life, but yet it has the leadership that is telling it that be suspicious of your other, man down there or up here. Now, how can the people get out of these rules of what leadership gives to them?
Well, what we should do, you see, the people of Nigeria are very peace-loving people. I think Nigeria is the most peace-loving people I know around. And they are very easy to manage. Nigerians are very easy to manage. All you need is to give them the clear-cut understanding that you belong to this country, we care about you, every life matters. Every life matters. Don't give people the impression that the life of a cow is more than that of a human being. You can't do that and expect people to still believe in your country, in their country, and want to die for the country. No, it's not. You see, so I think the first thing that the government needs to address, first and foremost, I think the leadership of this country is to first address what are the underlying problems of this country. First, you have a lot of imbalances in terms of what an injustice too, in terms of what we have in our constitution. We must see how to address that. I do know that the APC has a constitution that prides itself as a pro-structuring of this country. Now, this government has been in power for close to 7 years now, and they are not for once, raise the issue of restructuring. That is fundamental. It is the main unity of this country. If you do not do that, then there is no way you can expect people to just sit down and fold their hands and continue to languish in poverty and suffering. Now, you have a situation whereby you have these elders, farmers. It is all over the country. All over the country. What you have in the north you call banditry is elder farmer crisis. What you have in the east is elder farmer. The same thing in the southwest. How this government needs to stand up and address it head on. There is no way you can have people who decide to defend themselves. You call them terrorists, or people who propagate violence, and then you say you pamper who perpetrates the criminal act. Now, for somebody like me, I'm from Oyo State, and interestingly, I'm from a constituency where the recent skirmishes happened, or the issue of happened. These are problems that have been lingering for a long time that were not addressed. And until we take active action to solve this injustice we are talking about, there is no way we can have peace in the land. Just like you have in a place like Benue State, you have in a place like Jos Plateau, you have in Southern Kaduna, you have in all of these places. People will rise up and defend themselves because there is nobody who will lie down and die.
Okay, defending themselves. Let me pick from defending ourselves. Like we heard from the defense minister or minister of defense that Bashir Magashi, Major General retired, who had come to tell Nigerians to, come out, be bold, not be cowards, and confront these gunmen or bandits or in whatever name that we want to give to them. What is that saying about leadership?
I want to challenge. Okay, let me say this. I want to challenge the Minister of Defense. Go back to his village and be bold without any kind of harm and stand up to bandits with AK-47 rifles. What is the boldness? That is stupidity of the highest order.
Let's just be mindful of our words. Yeah, choice of words is
okay,
important.
thank you. So, I'm sorry about that.
Yes.
But you don't go around and then face somebody with a gun and say you are bold. That would be foolhardy. It means you have just deliberately decided to commit suicide. I think our leaders should be mindful of what they say when they address such issues. These people were kidnapped at gunpoint. These people were not trained to handle harms. These victims, they are not trained to handle harms. Why don't the minister say, okay, since this crisis is festering and we are not able to handle it well, let everybody carry harm. Give everybody the license to carry harm. I want to believe that maybe that should be some way of saying, okay, this is a solution. Rather than say people should be bold and face people who are armed with machine gun and AK-47 and rocket-propelled bullets to defend themselves. How would they do that? That is very unfair. It's unfair to the people. And it's like a robbing sort on injury. That's not fair. I think the government needs to address the issue of security. I think the issue of security is a very serious one. And I know it is very deep and problematic. Yeah. But we need people who can understand how to solve the problem to address them.
There have been so many interpretations given to the issue of restructuring, and sometimes people get confused about it, especially talking to the average man. For you, Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Gbadamosi, when you talk about restructuring, what are you looking at? What do you want to bring out here?
Okay, thank you very much. In simple terms, there are some things that have tied us down. Essentially, one of the things that Nigerians need is economic, I will call it economic emancipation, because they need to be able to do business and solve their problems. Our country today is being bogged down with the issue of electricity. We don't have electricity, we don't have power. And if you can generate power, you would have solved a lot of problems. People will go to work. And how do you do? The aspect of power generation is in the exclusive list of this country. Why do we have that? Why is it that you can't have state government generate their own power and distribute it? Why can't we have states that will generate power and even sell to other states? We need to unbundle some of these things. The aspect of railway lines, the federal government also have this in its exclusive list. You need to unbundle this. Let state government collaborate and have maybe build their own rail lines depending on the needs, the economic needs. Then you have areas that have to do with the political aspect. People feel that there is a lot of imbalance in that of the political aspect. We need to address the constitution of Nigeria head on, because there are a lot of things that are holding us down, that are not making us to work. I give a very interesting example also. We have a state like Lagos State that generates IGR, VAT, a huge amount of money in terms of VAT. And at the end of the day, you bring it to the center and you share it to everybody. Then the question you ask is, why would Lagos State be encouraged or feel good that I am getting a fair share of what I should get in this federation? Let every state get viable and be able to use their resources. You also have the problem whereby you say that all mineral resources in every state on the land belongs to the federal government. I think that is wrong. I think we need to address that. We need to give all these state governments the leverage to do a lot of things so as to generate funds for themselves. And we need to also address the issue of the sharing formula of...
Hello. Right, guess we have a network challenge there. We would have to, hello, Honorable. Okay, we'll have to go for Honorable Badamasi again. We have a network challenge there. But I'm sure we can trying to get our guests back on the program. Okay. It's a program Perspectives this morning. We're glad that we have our guest, Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Badamasi, online. Yes, you were with your point, Honorable.
Well, I believe that with all of those places we have highlighted, and with those other places that other legal experts will look at, we have to address those places and see how we solve those areas. Then we have to also address the issue of how we relate with ourselves. This issue of pastoralism is something that we need to take a very good look at and solve this. As of today, with the way things are going, we might have a situation whereby we will not have enough food. Already food items are getting expensive in the market already now. So let's look maybe in the next 1 or 2 years. It's most likely that prices will rise again, and this is as a result of the fact that people are not able to go to farms. So we need to address these issues and solve the problems. Otherwise, all of these separatists rising up here and there will continue to fester, and the problem will get emboldened.
Let me take you back, Honorable, and I'll just take you back to the last administration before the APC government that we're having now. There was a national conference, and though that was questioned about that it was just selective and not one that was done by the people. Okay, but again, it came out with the issues of Nigeria and how to solve some of these issues, what we have to do. And so much was raised at that conference about how Nigeria can work, as a nation. But that has been thrown out or not been attended to. Could it be, looking at it as, well, it was their regime and not our regime, so why don't we take, from some of the best hands that, came about on this conference and some of the points they raised and try to build on that? What could be just the problem here?
Well, you see, these are part of the leadership issues I talked about earlier, because I do believe that we should not be wasteful in what we do. Because if we are talking about suggestions and proposals in terms of the restructuring of this country and amendment of our constitution, I think we have more than enough documents. We have the one you just mentioned, which was that was done under the Goodluck Jonathan administration. We have the one that was done under the Obasanjo administration. We had other ones that has to do with maybe the waste panel and all the other panels that sat on constitutional issues that needs to be addressed. All we need to do is to bring all of this together and harmonize them and see how. You see, one of the problems we have is that politicians will say it was done by APC and not by PDP, or it was done by PDP and not by APC. That is the unfortunate thing. We don't look at the larger picture, which is our country, our people. How do they progress? How do we move from this point we are to a point where we can beat our chest and say we have done well? We need to look at. For me, I don't buy the idea of the idea we have in the National Assembly now saying that they are doing a constitutional amendment committee, because they've done that since the beginning of this democracy in 1999, and they've used it to siphon and taken away a lot of money. We spend so much on it, and yet we don't have any outcome from it. So I think we have enough documents already on ground. If only we can pick up those documents and implement what is in them. In fact, recently, I think there was the El-Rufai committee that sat about 2 years ago and also came up with some recommendations. And those recommendations, as of today, has been gathering dust on the shelves. Nobody has gone there to take a look at them. It tells me that there is somewhat a case of insincerity or maybe some kind of mischief. Politicians are not looking at solving the problem, but to just gloss over it. And that's most unfortunate.
And let me also look at the issue of survival of institutions in this country. Well, we're working towards going on for general elections in 2023, and again, we will depend on this institution of INEC. That's talking about the Independent National Electoral Commission. Of course, there are so many of them, the institutions. But again, what we're seeing, or what some analysts have been talking about, is that no respect for the rule of law, and how this affects the survival and growth of these institutions. Your position here?
Our institutions are very weak. That's the first thing, and they are subject to manipulation and control by the powers that be, or maybe the highest bidder, and that is unfortunate. I expected that this National Assembly, the first thing they would have done was to immediately amend the INEC law, but they've spent so much time on it, and I fear that we might find ourselves in the same situation we were before the 2019 general election. And what was that situation? We had a situation whereby the National Assembly passed the INEC Act, and then the presidency refused to assent because they said it was too close to the election. And that's exactly what is playing out now. We also have issues with the police force. The police force has been such that there has been a continuous use of the police by whoever is in power or whoever can pay more to achieve their ends. And that's why we need the issue of restructuring. We need to see how we have a police force that will be independent, at least of manipulation of politicians, that will be able to function and serve the people of the state, of the country. If we don't have this institution becomes too weak, and we might have ourselves in a very deep problem by the next election. I have this feeling that with what we have seen, with what I have seen, that INEC has done over time in the last 4 or 5 years, I think it doesn't give me any cause to be anxious that there will be something good coming from INEC, except if we have a very drastic tinkering with the laws that created these institutions.
Okay, Honorable, before I have to give it a break here to go to the shop, do some buying and selling. We go to a commercial shop now. I'll be back with you, at the turn of this show.
Okay.
Welcome back. It's the program Perspectives this morning. It's coming to you on Invicta 98.9. And this morning, we're sharing thoughts with Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Atikungbadamosi, IBA and PR and MSMES consultant, also first vice president of the Just Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, CHACIMA, and is a retired public federal service, retired federal civil servant, a politician, and a commentator on national and international matters. It's a long distance call to the southwest or your state, and we're getting his thoughts about the state of the nation. And of course, coming out, Honorable. Yes, okay, we're just coming out with issues confronting us as a nation, and it needs to be addressed urgently to save the country and, of course, keep the country going. We know of the importance of Nigeria in the black world, and of course, we must get it right. So many countries all depend on this most populous black nation, and that we must keep it going. There have been concerns about matters coming, whether from the economic side, insecurity, coming out more than any other time, and the issue of banditry, kidnappings, and of course the terrorist situation in the northeast part. And of course, we have in our own local skirmishes here, the herder-farmer clashes, and most importantly, the criminals or criminality should be addressed, in this nation. So, Honorable, we're finding a way forward. We asking that we try to get it right. Now, again, I go back to the very founding years of this nation. What the forefathers, some people would say, had done when we had a parliamentary system of government. That there was a healthy rivalry in the regions, and of course, with time, we moved into military incursion back to civil administration. And we are still back with this democracy going on over 20 years now that we're running this, and we've been running it to keep it going. But there have been concerns, from different blocks of the world about the survival of this nation. For you, survival of this nation is not about tribe, it's not about religion, which some commentators will see into what is coming out of the nation now. But again, you are hammering on leadership. Now we've had a change of baton from one leadership to another. And yet, all of these issues that are confronting us as a nation have not gone away. So what is actually wrong? Getting it right. So much dependence on, INEC to give free, fair, and credible elections. But here, Nigerians come out to say that it was not fair, it was military, and all of that. So this country looks like a country where when people talk about unholy alliance, maybe all of that is showing forth or bringing its ugly head at this time of our country. But for you, the urgency of getting all of this, solved, and what as the responsibility of the media in all of this, because again, the Rwandan experience will just tell us that it was just the media that got it, that it flipped over. So for you now, what do you expect of the media at this time?
I must say that to put it in perspective, the media, for me, have done a good job so far. I think the one of the problems we are having is that lately, maybe in the past 5-6 years, the media tends to be gagged to some extent because we're having all these administrative laws or introductions that we have been made that tends to restrict the media in terms of what they can talk about and what they can say and all of that. I think media freedom under this administration has not been very good, and I think it's just that if maybe we were to be in a military regime, the media will be conscious of the fact that we are dealing with a military regime, so they will know how to tackle it. But this time around, I think the media is caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. Why? Because you see the country operating a democracy, and then they have limitations in terms of what they can say and what they cannot say about what is happening within the politics. The media is responsible for holding government to account on what they promise to do and what they ought to do. The media also has a duty to set the agenda for discussion and for government on issues that are burning in the country. And I think the media has done a great job of this, except that lately the media is having a lot of challenges, and there's a lot of breathing down the neck of the media from the government being, not wanting them to report incidents the way they ought to report it. But be that as it may, I think as it were presently, the media is becoming conscious of the fact that they need to re-strategize and redesign how they approach issues and how they address issues that have to do with government. Because for somebody like me, I would say that we are no longer in a democracy, as it were. We only have it in nomenclature as a word. We are in democracy. But what we are practicing is a glorified military regime or
Honorable, how fair can that be? You know, this is a democracy. Can we run away from that to allude that we are in a military, rulership or administration? How fair can you be on that?
Well, that is my opinion and assessment of the situation of this one as it is.
Well, that may also not be speaking well to what we have on ground, because again, we're talking about getting it done, getting it rightly done. And when we begin to introduce this little talks here and there, it sends signals, And so I want to come to that with what is happening with the media. The media should be seen as the fourth estate of the realm. But again, how it is operating today cannot, some people say, far from that. And we also know that as the gatekeeper, we must, talk to what is confronting us as a nation today is imbalance, and of course, everyone going to his region, everyone holding on to his religion, everyone holding on to his tongue or tribe, and that is an issue. And so it is the media that should try to balance up and look into all of this. But again, are we having media that ownership plays a very important role, ownership rightly or wrongly too?
Let me say this quickly. You see, I happen to be a trained journalist, and I do know that one of the ethics of the media is confidentiality of the source of information. I also know that as a media practitioner, you have to put issues on the table as they are, fact, without limiting the public or the people. But what we are having today is a situation where the media is expected to sweep issues under the carpet, not to address them the way they are. Because if you address them the way they are, they will tell you you are profiling. You are profiling, or you are castigating, you cannot develop a country like that, except and until you address issues the way they ought to be addressed. Call issues the name they are. That is when you can now look at them and solve problems. And I think that's one of the problems that is happening with the government. The government seems to be comfortable. When we talk about bandits in the Northeast, I said these are terrorists. Don't call them bandits, for God's sake. If you call them bandits, you have given them a soft landing so that you can have them called. If they are terrorists, treat them that way. If kidnappers are kidnappers, call them kidnappers. If you have people who go to other people's land and terrorize them, destroy their farm and all of that, call them terrorists. We don't give them names and then want the media to paint it and give it some cosmetics so that they can look good and all of that. No. It means we are not prepared to have a country. It means we are not prepared to address our problems head on. So these are the things I think are challenging for the media. And I believe they are finding their ways around. And I want to believe that for us to have a country, and a good country at that, the media must be allowed to do its job, must be allowed to focus and be guarded in any way through maybe regulation or laws and all of that are not friendly.
Well, again, the media, as you say on the media, we have all sorts of media now. We are of recent having the social media where everyone is an expert in what he says or wants to say. And so that aspect again, how we can challenge that and how that can be monitored, and what good that media, that's talking about the social media, how it helps to tie us together as a nation.
I think the social media has is a drawback. It has a lot of negatives, really, but it also has quite some positives because a number of things that ordinarily we would have been swept under the carpet and would pop up on the social media. Even though the social media has also been abused by people who are not who do not understand the use of language for some of their own hidden agenda and very selfish and mischievous ends. But I think also that we need to have a robust space for discussion. We need to have a kind of for me, I think the social media is not a place where you cannot use this word. If somebody posts something that is offensive to him, I am sure and convinced that by the time proper steps are taken, I identify the source of something and where it came from. And when we identify such, I think we should make examples of those who create the scheme and try to divide the country and create problems within the system. But that does not mean we should now do a kind of a blanket law to guard the social media. Because as it were, people are losing interest and losing faith in the mainstream media. And that's why most people are resorting to social media. And most of the time, people get more news from the social media. Let me give you the example of what happened in Abuja lately, the air crash. And within minutes of that incident, it was all over the place, and everybody was aware of what had happened. Okay? So that is one of the power of the social media. But then, we need to see how we get our regulatory agencies to look at who is posting what. And if this is offensive, we should be able to identify them, make them face the music.
Okay. Honorable Isiaka, I would want to, take us, this conversation to the audience too, and let's get their thoughts here. Questions and, of course, solutions, if you prefer some. This morning, Perspectives is sharing thoughts with Honorable Isiaka, IBA, PR, and MSMES consultant. Also Vice President, First Vice President, Jos Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, JOSIMA. A retired federal civil servant, a politician, commentator on national and international matters. We'll give out our numbers to call to be part of this conversation. 081 40,989, 081 40,989, or 070 87 070 87800-989. I'll take your calls now. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Toya.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you, Victor family. My name is Musa Bala.
All right, Musa Bala, let's hear you.
Yes, my thought about the issue of disclosure. So much has been said about restructuring. And your guests have spoken about exclusive list. I want to ask him this question. Is the president responsible for altering exclusive list for the National Assembly? Has he ever talked to his senators and other House of Representative members from his state? And you are just made talk about defend yourself. And at the same time, people really make a U-turn when you made reference to him about what the Minister of Defense has said. To him, is defend yourself simply means organizing people to attack defenseless people. Is that what he means? Like what happened in Shasha? Because the people there did not tag the attackers, but rather they attacked the defenseless people. Is that what he means by defense of himself? And lastly, please, Mr. Toyarabi, please help me asking this question. What did he precisely mean by the life of cow is better than the life of human being? Are we having farmers herders crisis during previous administration or not? Was it described that way, that the life of cow is better than the life of human being? Where such words come from? People that are supposed to lead us or explain things to us. I thought it's coming from people that don't understand the issue of security. But when I have people at that level saying that the life of a cow is better than that of human being, Please, what did he mean? Please help me to ask him this question.
All right, Honorable, okay, and that's from Musa Bala. Honorable Isiaka Badamosi, I'm sure you heard the caller there.
Yes, I had the caller, but it was not very audible. So you could just repeat the question you asked me.
Okay, all right. Well, going by what you said, when you say defending ourselves, that had come up with what had happened in some states, that security outfits have been created. And so defending oneself, especially with what had come out from the Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, retired general, that defending yourself, would it be taking, lives of innocent people, or, the Shasha crisis that he was talking, that you talked about? Where would you place that? And then so you talked about restructuring. Could this be coming from the National Assembly, or, coming from the executive? Who takes ownership of restructuring? And yes, you also said along the line that this thing about is the life of a cow better than that of a human being? He really wants clarity on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me address the issue of security and all of that. First of all, you see, what happened in Shasha is the thing, I said it earlier, it's something that has been long coming. There has been on the ground issue all the while in there between the Hausa community and the Yoruba community there already, before it now snowballed into what the explosion that happened. And I believe that if only some of these problems were nipped in the bud and solved before the festa, we will not have the problems we had in Shasha. Talking about whether defending oneself is all about carrying arms and all of that. The Minister of Defense suggested that people should defend themselves. He did not say we should carry arms. And I do ask the question, how do you defend yourself against somebody who carry an AK-47 rifle? People would rise up, be it in their farms, be it in their markets and all of that. They will not put it right down and say we are accepting justice. But that does not justify taking the life of anybody. That does not in any way any kind of killing. Okay? That's on that side. Then the other side of whether the life of cattle is what that of humans. Now you see, when a government portrays a big body posture that tells the people that this is my priority, because if not, I ask the question, why is this problem becoming a recurring decimal? It's not just in Oyo State. It's happening in Ogun State. It's happening in Benue State, in the South, in the South. People are being killed on their farms. Their farms are being destroyed. Why are they not come out to deal with it?
Again, Honorable, would that be fair, on government too, that it has just looked the other way? I mean, we hear about, government's position about all of this. Is it just not loud enough? Is that what you're saying here? Action. I'm saying that would this be fair on government to say that it had looked the other way? Is that fair? We hear government doing, we hear action being taken. It is not as if government is not concerned. Are you just giving your own interpretation of what government is not doing or doing?
What I said earlier is that what government ought to do is stand up and say, you cannot enter somebody's farm and destroy his way of living.
That itself will be criminality. Criminality, right?
If that is criminality, then deal with it as criminality and do not sweep it under the carpet. Do not allow people to start saying that we will defend ourselves. By the time it gets to that level, you have allowed it to. You must nip it in the bud. The police, most times these days, they will be onlookers when things like that happen, or maybe they would. People at the end of the day did not get justice.
Again, Honorable, how can this be fair enough to say that the outfit that should protect lives and property would be looking the other way? Again, for best of reasons, let me just go to the next caller there. It's staring me in the face here. Right. Okay, stay with your calls. Taking your calls on 081 40,000 989. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
Victor.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning. This is Mr. Tunde from Malta.
Tunde, right? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's hear you.
Yeah, I want to say kudos to your guest. He has spoken the mind of most Nigerians at the moment.
Is your namesake, right?
Tunde by name.
Yes, I got you, Tunde. I said, well, my guest has been, is Mr., is Honorable Isiaka Babatunde.
Welcome to the program. I just want to say that we have a failed administration, obviously.
We have what?
Moment. We have a failed administration at the moment.
That will certainly not be acceptable. Your opinion, I know.
No. Yes. And let me expatiate. And my reason is that after a government who has been voted into power to perform his duty, asking Nigerians to defend themselves. I mean, by the time we keep on defending ourselves, I mean, I don't know. What do you take of people who take law into their hands in the name of trying to defend themselves? And it was the administration who asked them to go ahead to do that. Because you have to define the issue of defending yourself. There are a lot of things people will do in the name of defending themselves. I don't know if you get me.
I'm following.
So for an administration who is in power, for a minister of defense who is in power, to start asking people to defend themselves, who responsibility are the one to do, is just uncalled for.
Okay.
And it's a sign of a failed administration. However hard it is, it's just the truth.
We got you on that. Well, matter of opinion, yeah. And again, people have asked, the Minister of Defense to give clarity on that pronouncement. Again, that will be subject to interpretation. We just really need to know exactly what he meant when he said, let's not be cowards, let's come forward and defend ourselves. Well, I'm sure that we'll get clarity on that. Still, we are calls now. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
You're speaking with Karen from the town.
The name again, please?
Haron.
Varon.
Yes.
From Jos?
Calling from town. From town.
From town. Okay, just from town. Okay, let's hear you.
Yes, please. What I want to say is your guest has really spoken well. He has said the truth. In a situation, or rather in a society where somebody in charge of security will tell the citizens to defend themselves, does that not show the failure of governance? That's a pointer to the fact that the government has failed in their responsibility, their primary responsibility of protecting lives and property. There is no two ways about it. It is pure failure.
That's your opinion too. Your opinion here.
Yes, it is my own opinion and the opinion of millions of other Nigerians.
No, please. That's we get that wrong. You can't speak for me, I'm sure, but bring out your opinion.
When you have a government that has all the resources to protect life and property, and they are not doing so, they are now shifting the responsibility to ordinary Nigerians to do so. How would an ordinary Nigerian protect himself from people who have who carry heavy weapons?
Okay.
Can someone who has cutlass or stick confront somebody who is carrying an anti-aircraft gun and AK-47? It is not possible.
Okay, we got you on that.
All right. That is what I'm saying.
All right, thank you. I'll just come back to you, Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Adigun Badamosi. Let's get your last line. Tie it up with the two previous callers.
Okay, thank you very much. I would want to address the last question raised by the fourth caller, who said something about who should be responsible for the constitutional amendment, whether the National Assembly or the executive. If we identify a problem, we know that this is the problem of the country. We should not wait until it becomes a crisis or a catastrophe before we now start addressing it. Already we know there's a problem with our constitution. The executive and the deal with the issue and solve the problem amongst the law. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Adigun Gbadamosi. Thank you for coming on the program this morning. And that would just be about the size of it on the program Perspectives today, looking at the state of the nation. And sharing thoughts with me this morning, we've had Honorable Isiaka Babatunde Adigun Gbadamosi, IBA, PR, and MES consultant, first Vice President, Jos Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, JOSIMA. Also retired federal civil servant and a politician and a commentator on national and international matters. Daishan, thank you for connecting us with the people. As Perspective today, we'll come back with it tomorrow. Good morning.